What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to another live stream right here on Cassius Morris Official. We're back. We're into March. I saw online people are saying like this is the fastest we've ever reached the beginning of March in any given year. I could not agree more. This start of the year is completely flying by. I felt like I've been saying 2026 every single day, and I'm like, dude, we got to get over the shock of this. 2026 is well underway. There's no time to waste, and soon enough it's going to be spring, so I'm calling this season grind time. Kicking off the stream with a couple of new features to make things better. First of all, of course, we have our AI picture. Shout out to my boy Cash Donovan on the AI, me whooping the shit out of Epstein. Soon I got to work on my in-person AI to get the muscles to match, but we're working on it, guys. It's a daily work in progress, but shout out to my boy for sending that in. So new features for tonight. We got the new camera. We're trying out a new camera. I figured if I'm going to make you guys stare at this ugly mug, I might as well at least give it to you guys in HD. So we got the HD cam this evening. Can this guy shut up in the background, by the way, dude? You hear that? This is Thailand things right here. Just 8:30 p.m. at night. Dude shouting on a loudspeaker. I appreciate the spirit, but sir, I'm trying to do a show. If you don't mind. Anyway, so we got the new camera, HD. We also have the new text-to-speech donations, the TTS. You guys can hit the link in the chat, which I currently have pinned. And instead of like, I know a lot of people try to ask me questions on the stream and try to get my attention for certain things. This is the #1 way to do that, to get your comments through to me. You can click the link and send a little text donation, and it will pop up like this. Let's hope the test actually works.
This is a test super chat message.
Okay. So, yeah, they will pop up like this, and we will all be able to see and respond to your messages. So go ahead and hit me with the TTS. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. And probably you can tell I'm a little bit more lively tonight on the stream. I'm able to actually speak at a normal volume. I don't know who saw the last couple of streams, but the last couple streams I was broadcasting from a pod hostel. The place was literally called a podstol. And when we're talking a pod, we're not talking a podcast. We're talking a room that's literally like a jail cell. Now, I don't like to complain about much when I'm traveling. Okay, that's a lie. I do, but I don't like to perpetuate that image because I always want to remind myself and remind people that I'm grateful for the experience. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you have, 4 walls around you and a ceiling, a roof and food in your stomach, you're blessed and you're good. That being said, the condition of some of these hostels is an absolute nightmare. And I would say if you can, don't save the $10. For me, if the $10, look, it's not about the money for me when it's $10. If $10 is going to get me personal space, peace of mind, the ability to speak at a decent volume in a private bathroom, then that's cool with me. And I got to tell you guys too, the people that you encounter at these budget hostels, not always the best crowd. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm in a city like Bangkok. It's let's say a much more open city. Let's just, to put it conservatively, a much more open city, a much more liberal city. This last hostel was full of people getting down, man. You go to the bathrooms, there's signs pasted all over the bathrooms. No sex in the bathroom. Literally signs on the outside of the bathroom stall, inside the stalls, inside the actual shower. There's a sign that says no sex. So that just goes to show the sort of the typical crowd. And I don't get down with that, man. I don't get down with those crowds. I've never been into that. All the power to you if you're living a rock star life, you're chasing that debauchery, but that's just never been me. And that's been the #1 struggle that I've had while traveling and working remotely. It's the constant clash between the party, crazy atmosphere in a city like this and working and hunkering down and grinding and getting your job done. So I'm back with a strategy. I'm back with a plan and some money in my hand like motherfucking Drake. Staying in an area right now on the complete outskirts of the city. So we're staying in the outskirts. We're avoiding the party scene. No social interactions, no dating, nothing. This is a man locked in on the computer, on the grind. And I swear to God, I'm not leaving this room. I'm not getting off of this computer until we hit 100,000. Where's my sound? I need my sound effects back. We're not leaving this room until we hit 100,000. Someone said you need signs to tell people no sex in public. Dude, that's what I'm telling you about these hostels. The people who go to these hostels are absolute degenerates. They're degenerates because, look, if you're traveling around the world, and look, I may be lumping myself in here too because I was there, but if you're traveling around the world and your budget for a room is $9, it's not exactly breeding the greatest crowd who's coming into these establishments, okay? And before I jump into the stories for tonight, because we have a lot of stories to talk about, this is the exact reason. Like, when I actually go firsthand and see the behavior of tourists who come to a place like Thailand, when I see the disrespect that they have for the facilities, they're having sex in the bathroom, they're having sex on the beaches, they're just generally being nasty people, dirty people, gross people, and coming in with a shoestring budget, contributing nothing to the country. When I see firsthand the way most of these people actually act, it's no surprise to me that Thailand is actually strictly regulating and enforcing their tourism now. It's no surprise to me that the people who were able to get visas for long-term stays in Thailand, for example, just using Thailand because I'm here, it stands to reason that they would actually be making the limitations for these visas things like you have to actually have 15,000 US dollars saved in your bank account for 6 months. That's one of the examples of what they're doing, because they're sick of these broke people coming in and completely taking advantage of the currency exchange. That's ultimately all it is. And these countries are starting to wise up. They're like, wait a minute, we have a weak dollar. People come into our country and completely use our systems and abuse our systems. And the only way I could really rationalize it is if I really think about it, if it was in my country. If you were in America or in Canada and there was a loophole for people to come in and pay no money and disrespect your country and basically use and abuse the amazing, the milk and honey of your country, the great things you've cultivated, you would be pissed off too. And I understand. Look, I'm a traveler. I wish Thailand would be more lenient for the people who do it right, like me, because all tourists are bad but me. I don't know if you guys realize that. All tourists are bad but me. That's sort of the conclusion that we've come to. I wish the good ones could have more leniency, but pause the camera. I'm not used to having the external camera. But I also understand why we don't. I had another situation that happened just the other day, really quickly, where I actually wasn't served at a restaurant. So like I told you, I've been staying at some of the parts that are more outskirts of Thailand. I looked up a place to eat that was going to be local near me because I really like to go to actual local restaurants when I'm in a country like Thailand. And I found this really cool looking mom and pop shop, great reviews, and the number one thing they said in the reviews was that the service was really good at this restaurant. It was a 10-minute walk from me. I said, great, let's go take a stroll. Let's enjoy a nice little night walk in Bangkok. And most importantly, let's go support this restaurant because as a tourist, it's important for me to try to support local, support family-run mom and pop businesses. So I walk over to this restaurant, right? The second I get to the door of this restaurant, everybody seated inside starts looking at me. And they're not looking at me in a good way. You know when you just walk into a room and you feel like everybody in there was like just having a conversation about you? That's sort of the vibes that I got. And I know it wasn't me personally because I hadn't been there before, but that was the vibe that I got. Everybody starts staring at me. Now, people are either staring at me in this situation or completely acting like I don't exist. And that's what the waitress was doing. Now, the waitress, I go in, I sit down at a table, I nod my head at her, very polite. The waitress then proceeds to act like I don't exist. So she's standing in the kitchen. She's talking to the people there. They've all seen me. They've clearly seen me come in and sit down. They don't approach me or offer me anything. Now I say, okay, look, let me give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's tied up at the moment. They're speaking Thai. I can't understand Thai. Maybe this is something that I don't understand. Maybe there's a reason for the holdup. So the woman goes to clean the table next to me and there's a menu on it. She picks it up. I say, okay, great. It took her a couple minutes, but she's picking up the menu. She picks up the menu from the table walks towards me. I think she's coming to give me the menu, and she actually walks right past me. So doesn't acknowledge me, walks past me with a menu, completely leaves me there looking like a jackass while everybody else in the restaurant is staring at me. And at this point, I realized, look, they don't want me in this restaurant, okay? They don't want me in this restaurant. And what did I do? I got up and left. I don't start making a TikTok. I don't pull my phone out and start doxing the restaurant. I don't do any of that. And you know why I don't do that? Because what happened in the restaurant that day was not personal. What happens when people come to a country and have bad behavior, and they're generally from certain regions, whether it's Canada, America, the UK, is that the good people from those regions start having to pay for the misdeeds of the others. And I mean, we've talked about this with countless countries. I've had, an Indian influencer on here, a friend of mine, who talks about how Indians go places and they act a fool and they make Indians look bad. This also applies, though, for every other country, including America, including Canada. And what happens when people come into countries and look bad is they make all of us look bad. So I could have sat there and cried and said, oh, well, it's because they hate me. It's personal. It's because of the clothes I was wearing. It's because of my off-white shade of brown. I could make all sorts of ridiculous excuses. I could pull the race card. I could pull all kinds of cards. But the reality of the situation is this. Tourists come to places and fuck it up for everybody else, and you got to take responsibility as a tourist for that. So I'm not even mad. I can only picture what happened in that restaurant with another foreigner to trigger this type of behavior. So there's the opening monologue. That's been my experiences lately in Thailand. So there we go. So let's hop into a couple of stories here. Obviously, the top story of tonight, we'll start with this. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton brought in for a 5-hour deposition over Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is a bombshell story that we actually have all of the footage from. We're not going to sit here and watch the full 5 hours. I'm not going to put you guys through that. But we do have a number of clips here of the absolutely unhinged and enraged Hillary Clinton completely snapping at these lawmakers, completely snapping. Let me try to say it properly. On the people in this deposition. We're going to roll this first clip now. This is Hillary Clinton having a screaming match with the person questioning her over her connections with Howard Lutnick and Jeffrey Epstein. Let's take a look. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe, guys, if you're just joining. Oh, shit. Here we go. Thank you for the sub, Rain. I appreciate that. So I guess the subscribers also pop up here, too. So, guys, if you send a text-to-speech donation, you can actually have your text appear on the screen as well for me to hear. It will appear like this. Just a quick little note for everybody. This is a brand new feature tonight. Like this.
This is a test super chat message.
So send your super chats in, guys, if you want to join the conversation.
And how do you know Howard Lutnick?
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was senator on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping his child off to kindergarten. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to
This was what I spent my time doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors trying to
and I was taking care of the people who lost 3,000 lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey Epstein for money,
I have an email from Howard Lutnick sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to raise money for you for an event, an intimate event for you at his offices at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're going to sit here today and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey Epstein when there was an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to
One
put,
of the
you want
most
to
evil
yell.
women in the world.
Hey, thank you for the super chat, Vols Lover. I completely agree. So evil. And it actually stuns me how naturally she lies. That's the one crazy thing about Hillary Clinton. When she lies, it just flows out of her mouth like a stream. It's like water. It just flows so naturally. I feel like she could lie in her sleep. It just requires no effort for her.
When there was an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to put it. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
Damn.
Jerry. I'm doing the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
No,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do.
She finally met her match, it looks like. She's like, hey, I'm usually the hard ass in the room. I'm the hard ass, hardened female politician in the room, lady. She's like, this is my gig.
I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnick. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee. But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
And he was a
So
double
I
threat between
worked-
you and
Let
Jeffrey
her finish
Epstein
her
raising
answer,
money
please.
for you.
Let her finish her answer.
You know what? If you don't want to hear what emotionally affected me, that's fine. But that's why I know Howard Lutnick. I went to the memorial service every 9/11 after the formal service was held.
I see what you're
with
doing here,
all-
and you're
with
obfuscating
all
from
of
the
his
questions. He was
people,
the
the
go-between
families.
between you and Jeffrey Epstein raising money for your
Well,
campaign.
you know, Howard Lutnick and I did work
Thank you. I will
together
now yield
because
to
we had a
Congresswoman
lot of
Warner.
victims
Thank you.
to take care of, and we worked together to rebuild downtown Manhattan. That is how I know Howard Lutnick.
Man, you can tell she's actually pissed here, by the way. You know, this is the craziest part, guys, about what's happening lately in politics. And you could argue this has been happening ever since Trump got back in. And I'm going to use the word transparency here. And just for the record, when I use the word transparency, I don't mean that these people are necessarily being honest. I don't believe that these people are telling us really a shred of honesty. But I do think that ever since Trump 2, this brand new election cycle that he's in, the brand new term, we are seeing a level of heightened transparency of which we've never seen before when it comes to the way that government actually operates behind the scenes. You know, when you see the footage like we saw with Trump and Zelensky when they're having that litigation in front of the American media and they're yelling at each other like that, that was a super real, super transparent moment as to how politics actually works in America. And I would say that when you see a videotape like this of Hillary Clinton fighting it out, this has a level of transparency. It's peeling a layer back, so to speak, about what's actually happening behind the scenes. Because if this is what's happening on camera, you know, if Trump and Zelensky are screaming at each other and having a shouting match on camera, if Hillary Clinton is banging the table and walking out of a deposition while being recorded, just imagine what is happening behind the scenes. And we've never actually seen even an inkling of this, even an inkling of these politicians truly getting mad. We haven't really seen them shouting at each other truly. I mean, we've seen some stuff, but we've never seen it to the level that it's at now. And that's what I mean when I say transparency. And this to me is just a marker of the house of cards continuing to fall down. You know, as a system starts to collapse, as a system starts having cogs in the machine, I think the reasons for the collapse and the inner workings of said machine start to reveal themselves. And that's kind of what we're looking at now. We're looking at the collapse of a pretty pivotal part of today's current power structure. The blackmails, the human trafficking, the secret emails. These were all pillars. I call them pillars of power. It's an expression I've made up. I'm like Donald Trump. I make up words now and take credit for them. But really, these pillars of power were in place for so long. And what we're watching is the house of cards coming down. That to me is when you start seeing this type of behavior live on camera. Let's go take a look at, we have a bunch of clips here. So we have Bill Clinton. This one says, Hillary Clinton was asked about Jeffrey Epstein's email stating, hey, Hillary Clinton is much prettier in person. And she says, I will not object to that, which is funny because she actually said that she'd never met Jeffrey Epstein. She said she never met him. So this is her getting caught in yet another lie. Apparently, Epstein thought she looked better in person.
Mr. Epstein is commenting, and he quotes, hey, Hillary Clinton is much prettier in person. This was Tuesday, September 20th, 2011. And then another...
Congressman...
I'm not going to object to that.
Oh, is she trying to be funny, though? Okay, so she's not saying she doesn't object to the email. Does she, like, she almost has a sense of humor in a strange way.
2011. And then another...
Congressman...
I'm not going to object to that.
That was kind of funny, I'm not going to lie.
Congressman...
But you said you never met him, Hillary. By the way, can we just take a moment to appreciate her, like, her 20s? People said Hillary was a baddie back in the day. Was Hillary a baddie? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for when she's like 25. Hillary Clinton baddie photos? Was that a thing? I mean, shit, man. She was all right. I'm just playing. Bro's down bad.
Can we?
You know you're down bad when you're looking up Hillary Clinton baddie pics.
See the documents, because we don't think the
we will get that
document says
printed.
it. We don't think the document
Okay.
says it. Not that you're not pretty. Don't say that.
Jeffrey Epstein has
I'll take it if I can
also
get it.
commented that...
Yeah, lying under oath is crazy, guys. That's what we have to remember. She's lying under oath. Like I'm seeing here in the chat, too, she's lying for her husband as well. She's a clown. I completely agree. She'd look better in jail. I'm just reading the chat here. Where's Trump's transparency? I don't, again, I explained what I meant by the transparency comment. To me, transparency doesn't mean honesty. It means a revealing look at the way things operate. So I feel like, not in the sense of telling us the truth, but Trump has given us a pretty good look at the way that things operate behind the scenes in certain moments, and that's a level of transparency that we've yet to have seen. Let's go to the next one. So Bill Clinton now being questioned about the infamous hot tub photos, which, I mean, I'm not really going to show because I don't know. They're censored, but I still don't know exactly what the guidelines are for YouTube. So you can kind of see them in the corner. There's no nudity being shown or anything like that. But there are photos here of Bill Clinton apparently in the hot tub with Ghislaine Maxwell and some other redacted individuals. Epstein presumably in the picture as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bill Clinton being questioned about the photos, and then we also have Bill Clinton being questioned about Epstein emailing, saying that Bill likes him young. Say, Bill, I hear you like him young.
And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public.
I never had relations.
On whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it,
Buffering in a moment like this is crazy. How you gonna do me like that? Elon, fix your servers, bro. Spent all his money on rocket ships. He didn't spend it on the fucking X server to play my video.
this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei.
Why does bro look so happy about the picture? This dude isn't confessing. This dude is reminiscing. Okay, they show him the Epstein photos. He's smiling ear to ear. He's smiling ear to ear looking at photos of him in the hot tub with traffickers. This was dude in his prime, in his mind. See, in his deluded political mind, these are the good old days for old Bill. What a slimy guy.
And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and
Okay.
Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in rotation. And it came either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool.
Why do these politicians and world leaders always need a place to stay? And the only guy who can get them a place to stay is Jeffrey Epstein. You know, I travel full time. I can get a hotel by showing up in a city and walking to the front desk and saying, can I get a room for tonight? Never really had an issue finding a place to stay in any major city. Hell, even not non-major cities, small towns. I just walk into a hotel and ask for a room. How can you tell me or try to rationalize to me that world leaders, people who run countries, people who are royalty even, don't have the ability to get themselves a hotel room in a city like Manhattan, you know, an area like Manhattan, a city like New York, a city like Los Angeles, places like the UK? Why is it that they have so much trouble getting rooms and Jeffrey Epstein's the only guy with a place? Awful suspicious.
So I did, and then I got out and went to bed exhausted.
I'm not an ex-president. Exactly. So it should be even harder for me to get a room, not easier. You think that's exactly my point. I'm not an ex-president or a world leader, and I have no issue. He should have even less issue than me.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that
Thanks for the subscribe.
Recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
it'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do
thanks. I just
have
wanted
it
to
as
make
well.
sure he knew the
And so
context.
were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
there's
Hey, thanks for the sub, guys. Thanks for the sub. So, by the way, nobody in the hot tub. We're literally looking at photos of who? What are we looking at, chat? Let me know. I see Ghislaine Maxwell, I see Bill Clinton, and I see redacted individuals in this photo. This dummy's looking at the pictures. Didn't they print out the pictures for this guy? And he still denies it.
photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Oh, so you don't know who it is, so that means nobody was there. Wait, hold on a second. I can't even wrap my mind around this. So he's sitting here under oath, looking at this picture. He's looking at a picture of him, which he's already acknowledged is real, in a photo with two other individuals. You mean to tell me he's sitting here under oath and telling us nobody else was. I need to rewind this. This can't be right.
I wanted to make sure he knew the
And so
This can't be right.
were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub.
Don't, bro. What are you saying? Someone in the chat said his memory is bad. Dude, what memory? The photos are in front of him. Listen, I can understand an old dude having a bad memory. He's looking at the photos. They printed the photo and put it in front of him. And you know what I'm going to tell you guys next? There's no curtain behind me. There's no curtain behind me, and the curtain behind me isn't brown. That's about as honest as Bill Clinton is in this interview.
I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember who, were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
So wait, he doesn't know who they are? He doesn't remember them being there, but he does remember that they weren't under 18. That's an interesting selective memory. So you don't know who they were, but you know their age somehow. You don't know who we're talking about even, but you know for sure, it's verifiable that they were over the age of 18. I'm just trying to follow this retarded logic. It's hard to
Yes,
follow.
They were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there. And
This was a hotel room, by the way. Dude, it boils my blood so bad that these demonic, evil people live such lavish lives. Like, do you know what I would do? I opened this talking about doing broadcasts out of a fucking pod hostel. Do you know what I would do, chat, to be swimming in a pool like this? With no clothes on, just balling out of control? Like, this is what pisses me off. Is there a reward for being a good person in this world, or is there not? You know, some days most days I try to govern myself by the belief that being a good person will lead to rewards from the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. That's what my moral compass, I try to lead it by that. That you will be rewarded ultimately by karma or God or whatever you want to call it for being a good person. Why is everybody who's affluent and a billionaire and swimming in private pools and flying in private jets, why are they all pieces of shit? You know, what I was told growing up was that you get rewarded for being a good person, not rewarded for being a bad person. I was told that karma multiplies. When you do so much wrong, it catches up with you. That doesn't seem to be the case. All the bad people are living like doctors. I'm not following.
the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person?
He did not have sex with that woman.
Thank you.
Remember, that woman or that woman or that woman or that kid or that kid. He didn't have sex with any of them guys. Because remember, this is a trustworthy ex-president, and he is to be taken at his word. He is to be trusted because he is a God-fearing public servant for the United States of America. This I just need some popcorn, and that's really all I'm missing for these clips. Let's hop into another one. I mean, chat, what do you guys think, by the way? What do you guys think so far? I've been basically seeing the chat thinks all this is bullshit. Do you guys think we're getting to any truth here, or this is all theater? I mean, I think it's pretty much theater. Here's my thing. Even if we do find out that Hillary and Bill were the most guilty people in association with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, okay, that's maybe an overstatement. Let's say we find out they're guilty as hell. Let's just say we find that out. Does it really make a difference? I mean, what is going to change if Bill Clinton, I mean, maybe accountability would be improved if we could do something with him. But it's like, we already know this dude's a dirty fuck. You know, we already know this guy's a pedophile. We already know this dude is just disgusting, a sexual pervert. So it's like, are we really proving anything by harping on this issue? It's like, we know already. We know Bill Clinton's a dirty bastard. We know Hillary Clinton's a crooked liar. We know all of this already. You know who I'd be more interested in seeing talk? And again, it's not a political thing. It's just a thing of like proximity and relevance. I would like to see somebody deposing Kash Patel. I would like to see somebody deposing Donald Trump. I would like to see somebody deposing the people who are actually in power right now. Not people who used to be in power. Not people who are kind of close to being in power or were recently in power. I want to see the people in power now be asked these questions. I want to see Howard Lutnick get grilled a little bit more. I want to see all these guys get grilled a little bit more. But you know why it's not going to happen? Because who's going to grill them? You know, when you're look at Kash Patel. When you're the director of the FBI, who do we expect to investigate the director of the FBI? I mean, the only person who could really order it would be the director of the FBI. So who's going to question him? Nobody. Who's going to order Trump to be questioned? Trump? Nobody. That's what we're not seeing. I would be much more interested in hearing about the guys who are actively covering this up because, and don't get me wrong, if the Clintons are guilty, they should go to jail. This isn't a question for me. If the Clintons are guilty, they belong in a jail cell, without question. But I'm more interested in pursuing the people who are protecting this now, who are hiding this now, who are covering this up now. The Clintons, last time I checked, aren't redacting files. They aren't withholding files. It doesn't mean they're innocent by any stretch of the imagination. But what it means is they're really not the make or break in this scenario. I want everybody held accountable, sure. But these people are not the make or break. The make or break is the people who are hiding this and shrouding this and protecting these people who are still redacted, whose identities we still don't know, who are likely still out there committing crimes. That's what I'm interested in. So let's play this one. This is them asking Bill Clinton about Jeffrey Epstein, saying Bill likes him young. And this is, by the way, reported to be the most damning moment of the entire deposition.
The witnesses who testified in the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say something about him?
Why would Epstein say that about
So she's asking
president?
you to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
He can't even say it with a straight face. Guys, look at his face. Can we stop this? Dude can't even believe the words coming out of his own mouth.
Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
It's so true. It's the definition of what's true. What do you mean it's not true? You had a 19-year-old blowing you under your desk. How old was Monica Lewinsky, dude? She wasn't that old. Billy boy.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
but it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, someone in my chat said he's 80, 40 is young to him. That's hilarious.
My age, anybody younger than
That's
I am.
hilarious.
Jeffrey Epstein instructed a witness to deny you were ever on his island.
He didn't have to since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Is that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Have you ever flown on anyone else's private jet 26 times or more for overseas trips?
This is confirmed, by the way. He better not lie about this one.
I have flown as many miles on other jets, but never with as many stops.
Oh, he admits to the 26 flights. Dude, 26 flights. 26. And you expect me not to believe it. Look, maybe if it was 11 flights, we might have, like, a way out of this. You know? Once we, like, if it's, like, 9 flights, look, even that is crazy. 9 flights on Pedophile Express is crazy. But even if it was like 15, maybe, and not in my mind, but maybe there would be some kind of like alibi to be had. 26 flights on the Lolita Express. And you expect me to believe what again? That you're not guilty? What? You expect me to believe what now? It's crazy.
How many other people's planes have you used, like Epstein 26 times or miles, etc.?
I don't know. I did with Steve Bing, who's now deceased, and probably with 4 or 5 others.
Okay. So maybe about a half dozen billionaires total. So how many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, his hand is shaking like crazy. I don't know if that's from old age or nerves, maybe both. Dude is shaking.
How many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein in attendance?
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
I have no idea.
Okay. Did you ever discuss sexual misconduct allegations made against you with Epstein or Maxwell?
Never.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer to help manage or silence women who made sexual misconduct allegations against you?
No.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer financial support directly or indirectly to legal defense funds related to impeachment proceedings or civil actions against you?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think a young girl massaging a president is unusual?
So are you asking his opinion?
Well,
You're
he was
asking his
massaged by
opinion?
a young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of the free world, that
So I'm
it's
sorry,
unusual
are
a
you
young woman
speaking
would
to,
be.
are you talking to the instance of the
Yes, is it unusual that
the
a young
back
woman would be
massage
massaging?
that occurred while he was not president? I'm just trying to understand. You said a president of the United States.
Former president?
Thank you. Just trying to make sure we're correcting the
Are you
time frame.
filibustering?
Yeah, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, guys. I'm not going to make fun of somebody for being old, but I'm just saying, if it's old age, that's one thing. If it's nerves, it's another.
No, I don't need
Okay.
to. I'm actually trying to make
I
sure
think
that
I'm
as
pretty
you
clear. He said he
you
knows what
said he
young-
was a sitting president.
Excuse me, could we just please go one at a time? Thank you.
You said a sitting president. I want you to be clear so that when he answers
Former
you,
sitting
the
president. How
record
do
is
you want to
clear.
do it? Is it unusual?
I have
Objection
no
calls
idea
for-
if it's unusual.
Objection calls for speculation.
I figured. Did you ever
He
think?
has no idea if it's unusual to have a minor massaging the president. What?
I have no
calls
idea
for-
if it's unusual.
Objection calls for speculation.
His lawyer tried to stop him. Look at his lawyer. He's like, no, he grabs him. He tried so hard. Look.
I have no
calls
idea
for-
if it's unusual.
Objection
No,
calls for
don't answer,
speculation.
Bill.
I figured.
Don't answer that. We know you like massages.
Did you ever think that all these women around Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell was odd, unusual, weird, or creepy?
There weren't all that many around when I was there.
How many would you say is not all that many?
I think on this big plane that was working long hours, having 2 to 4 people on there, I thought was, as far as I knew, they were all helping.
Flight attendants in tank tops and jeans, right?
No,
Do you believe you were a victim of a Jeffrey Epstein intel operation? Do you think that you might have been caught up in some of what he was maybe potentially doing?
Excuse me, Congressman, which question are you asking?
I'm asking
Intel
if the-
operation?
first of all, I don't
some type of intel operation. I'm just curious because it's been speculated on today and yesterday
understand.
that he may have been an intel asset. Do you think, perhaps knowing what we know now, the proclivity of it all, that he may have been targeting you as part of an intel operation?
I doubt it.
Okay. In 2019, you...
Yeah, they're never going to admit that. You guys know where I stand on that. I think he was an agent. Yeah, I mean, you guys know what I think about Epstein and that.
Stated after he was arrested, I guess this would be the second time, you stated you knew nothing of Epstein's, quote, terrible crimes since you only met, quote, briefly on only, quote, 2 occasions. Was this statement false?
Excuse me, Congressman,
That's not an accurate statement. Can you please share us what you said?
Yes, in 2019, as
It just gets worse and worse. So the main clip, and we're going to play like the climax now, ladies and gentlemen. Pause. Probably not the appropriate term to use in these circumstances. We're going to play the best clip. Hillary Clinton completely becoming unhinged and storming out of the deposition, pounding on the table like a lunatic, and even saying, "You can hold me in contempt of court until the cows come home. I don't give a damn. I am done with this deposition," which, by the way, I didn't think was really an option. I figured you would have to stay and be deposed, and you know, if you're held in contempt of court, that's probably something a person with less power would be scared of, but no, not Hillary Clinton. Let's take a look here at Hillary completely losing her cool. And the reason she got mad, by the way, is because it came out that somebody in the hearing that she was at right there, the deposition, actually was posting photos to social media. So I guess this was being recorded here on camera, but it was supposed to come out at a later date. And there were supposed to be no leaks actually coming out, from what I understand, in that moment. And somebody in the room was caught posting pictures of Hillary while she was giving her deposition, and that's why she flipped out.
To the fundraiser to support my friend Nita Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So
sake.
I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well,
I would like to take a break at this moment.
yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Whoa. See, that was when the mask slipped, my friends. And see, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about a level of transparency. It doesn't mean honesty. It means we're getting to see the mask slip with these people. That, to me, we're going to play it again. That, to me, was probably the most authentic feeling moment that I've ever seen on camera from Hillary Clinton. Very authentic. Doesn't seem rehearsed, doesn't seem strategized. This seems real. And I've never seen her on camera in a moment where I'm like, this feels real.
Of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would
sake.
like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well,
I would like to take a break at this moment.
yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Absolutely wild, man. Hillary completely losing her cool. A shout out to the chat, by the way. Shout out Lois, Stinson, Heroes, Michael, Alex, Russell. I see all you guys, man. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you're enjoying the stream and these breakdowns. So like I said, man, this is the real her coming out. She's obviously frustrated. And my question about this is, what does she think this is going to do for the optics of the entire situation? You know, first of all, when we're talking about optics, the way that this looks in general for U.S. politics is not good. You know, I get the sense that the political system right now feels like they're giving people maybe some vindication by having the Clintons testify and do a deposition. Maybe they're feigning some level of actual honesty and transparency in this case. And maybe even having the sense that they're making themselves look better by coming out and saying, hey, we're finally going to address this now. No more secrets. And I say that in air quotes. The thing is, I don't think they realize that what they're doing is actually making themselves look worse. See, in the attempt to fake transparency, in the attempt to put up a smokescreen of honesty and truth, all they're doing is showing us a masterclass in lying, gaslighting, and manipulation. They're showing us exactly what they do on a day-to-day basis and why they are capable of being career politicians. You know, certain professions you will ascend based on your ability to lie and manipulate. This is one of them. And this is a masterclass in lies, slippery language, and manipulation. But again, I wonder if they really think that they're getting one over on us. And I don't think they realize that this looks really, really bad. When I'm looking from the outside, the optics of this, it looks like they're just insanely guilty. And even if you're not guilty, you know, people don't really care. That's the one thing I've learned. You can get thrown under the bus for an allegation that's not true, and people will, if they decide to run with that, they just run with that and you're guilty anyway, even if you get proven innocent. The other also exists too. You can be proven guilty of something and people can just not really care either, and they just run with that. It depends what the public perception is, more so than it actually depends on the verdict. You know, the public opinion, the court of public opinion is often stronger. So whether they're actually guilty or not is actually not relevant in this scenario, because they're making themselves look and sound incredibly guilty. And that, to me, I think is going to go farther and do more damage for them than any of the other aspects in this case. It could come out that they're pretty much innocent in this scenario. It could come out that they didn't do anything on those 26 flights, by the way, which is not likely. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, and now I literally mean the devil. I'm playing devil's advocate. Maybe I shouldn't be. It could come out that they did nothing in a hypothetical scenario. But my point is this. If you scream and shout in the deposition, you're slamming on the tables, you're screaming at people, you're having a meltdown, you're storming out of the room, that doesn't exactly scream innocence to me. You know, typically when someone is screaming and shouting and throwing papers and acting a fool, that's usually a guilty person. That's usually a person with something to hide. And it's typically not a marker of innocence when you're behaving and conducting yourself in the way that Hillary Clinton is. So that's my question. What do they think they stand to gain by acting like this? Do they think that this fake smokescreen is going to be enough to shut us up? Do they think now that they've gone out of their house for a couple of minutes and finally graced us with a moment of their time that we're now going to focus on other issues? Do they think that maybe the war with Iran is enough to distract us? Like, what do they think, and what is the play here? You know, politicians have gotten so messy recently. I still don't understand what their play is half the time. And they don't even seem to know what their play is either, because they're flailing. They're squirming in their seats and they're desperate to get out of this. So that's what I asked you guys. I mean, how do you guys think this is looking here? How do you guys think this is going to make them look? Take care, Lois. I'm reading the chat now. You talk too much? Ma'am, this is a talk show. So evidently you're confused. Perhaps you're new here. This is a talk show. So typically, sometimes on my talk show, I like to talk. Just a disclaimer for people who may be new here. There's no cure for a disease. I agree with that. Totally, bro. They came, they testified, they said nothing. That's kind of how I feel, Russell. I feel like they blew a lot of hot air. Like, okay, you can testify, but if you're just denying everything that's already been proven anyway, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. That's kind of what I'm saying. Debbie says she's been buying this for so long. She does want the image of Bill and that woman to come back in her mind. Or doesn't. I don't know what you meant to say there. Stinson says, I can't get emotionally invested. Let them live in their hell. That's probably the best way to do it, man. And look, I'm the same way. I do reporting, but I'm not emotionally invested in this. I try not to let it keep me up at night. Although oftentimes there's been times that it has. I mean, I do find this stuff quite disturbing, but I try not to let myself get dragged down by this, and none of us should. Thank you, Cable. I appreciate that. Shout out to all you guys, man. Again, hit that like and subscribe if you're enjoying. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. And before we hop into the next story, I just want to say thank you to each and every person who's been supporting the lives, who's been supporting the streams. This is a movement against the establishment that we are talking about. This is a movement against mainstream media. This is not corporate funded media. This is not sponsored by anybody. This is an unsponsored show at this point in time, ran by me directly to you. And I just have to say that every time I come on here, it never goes over my head how valuable this is and how meaningful it is to have a platform like this where we can talk, because these talks that we have on my streams, this to me is just like having a talk in the living room at Thanksgiving dinner or at the barbecue. We sit down, we talk about the issues. We're not necessarily experts. We're not pretending to be experts, but we have a perspective. We have a say, and what we see and perceive matters. What we have to say about these stories matters. So shout out to each and every one of you guys. I don't care if my stream gets 2 views or 200,000 views. If you're in this stream, it's us against them. We're fucking slapping corporate media in the face. You understand me? And that's why we're here. So thank you guys. Thank you, Adam. Thank you all there in the chat. So let's hop into the next story. I'm seeing, how does Trump get away? Because Trump's in power, man. But Trump, we'll see what happens. He has enough problems right now. Trump, I don't even know what to say anymore. So let's hop into the next story. Unless there's, I feel like we did a good amount on the Clintons, right? We saw the main clips. One more. This is a 50-second clip. They ask Clinton if he thinks Epstein killed himself. We got to run that.
I'd like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of...
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein suicidal?
Are you classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was friendly?
He has called him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not. You've asked for his testimony.
Mr. President, do you believe
she's in shambles trying to get him not to answer?
That Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's
suicidal?
The best of your understanding.
I don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe
That's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know.
What? He finally got caught.
That's it.
He finally got caught, and I don't know.
What does that mean? Clinton's like, look, we've done a lot of these assassinations. He's like, we know how it goes.
I think maybe
That's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened.
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
But he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's crazy. But I mean, nobody denies that he killed himself. Nobody denies that he killed himself, or that he didn't kill himself, rather. I think that's common knowledge. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. His lawyer's doing an excellent job. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, as a lawyer, she's certainly doing a good job. Thank you guys so much, man. I really appreciate the love tonight. You guys are too kind tonight. Okay, so hopping over to the next story. Jim Carrey is sparking massive waves across the internet as people are wondering if he actually did make an appearance the other night at the César Awards. Now, this whole controversy started after a brand new interview with Jim Carrey on the red carpet at these awards surfaced, and people noticed that he didn't really exactly look like himself. Now, I did have the clip saved, and I guess they want to make it hard for me to find the clip, so I'm quickly going to go ahead and pull it up on YouTube. But we did look at the initial clip on the other stream the other night, but we're just going to play this so that we know what we're talking about. So this is the clip that drew scrutiny, I guess, about Jim Carrey, and this scrutiny grew to the point where people are questioning if it's even actually him, which sounds kind of crazy, but we have more leads.
Bonjour. Bonjour. How are you? Oh, it's a wonderful feeling. I really took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, you know, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, you know, it's, then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes and I was like a novice. But
thank you, Jaga.
A lot of love, and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried, and what I said was true, and I really wanted to recognize my family. I wanted to recognize my dad. I mean, my dad was the type of person that if you met him for 5 minutes, you felt like you knew him for 50 years. You know, I can't talk about him without getting emotional. Oh, loved it.
So this video drew a lot of scrutiny, with people saying that something was just off in this video. That his eyes were off, his face was off, everything about him was off. And the conspiracies didn't stop there. They actually began to be fueled after this story went ahead and hit the internet, after an artist by the name of Alex Stone decided to take credit for actually impersonating Jim Carrey and appearing at the event himself. So this artist, Alex Stone, I guess is some sort of prosthetic artist or somebody who does true-to-life pieces and masks. And Alex Stone claims to have actually been the person on the red carpet instead of Jim Carrey himself, wearing a true-to-life mask of Jim Carrey. So this is a super, super weird story. We go to Alex Jones's Instagram here, or sorry, Alex Stone rather. He posts this photo. He says, the caption says, Alexis Stone, and I'm saying his name wrong, but my apologies. Alexis Stone as Jim Carrey in Paris. And this is the photo that Alexis posted claiming to be the actual mask that he wore. Now, the internet obviously completely lit up after this because it was just another conspiracy theory allegedly come true. People maintained the fact that Jim did look off, that he did not look right, and they were thinking this may have been an explanation for why his mannerisms and his whole sort of speech and vibes were so off. The other thing that people notice as well, to maybe lend to the fact that it wasn't Jim, was the fact that Jim Carrey is reportedly right-handed, or left-handed rather, and the person who showed up at the awards was actually right-handed. We go ahead and take a look at this article here.
Quick. I'm so late. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to see you. The Grinch is one of my favorites.
So this Jim signing with the right hand when the real Jim Carrey is actually left-handed.
Did you ever notice that Jim Carrey is left-handed? Go back and look at that video. Can somebody who got those autographs take a genuine picture of the autograph and upload it so we can compare handwriting calligraphy from previous autographs Jim Carrey did in the past? I think that'll settle the debate right there.
This is so weird. This is so weird. Now, the plot thickens. After this artist came out and said that this was him on the red carpet instead of Jim Carrey, well, Jim Carrey's team has finally decided to respond to this, and they're pretty much sick and tired of this. It's pretty crazy conspiracy, too, to have happening, so maybe this is like why it took them a little while to answer. Nonetheless, they did respond.
I felt a lot of love.
And the actual quote here says this. I'm just going to go ahead and find, let's go to the actual article here from Daily Mail. And we're just going to go ahead and find the actual quote. Hold on a second. 'Cause, 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 They put so much stuff in this article. I just want to find exactly what the actual quote was. Yeah, they really write this poorly. My apologies, guys. Let me try to find the actual quote. If not, we'll go to a different article. Here it is. So it says, Jim Carrey has addressed the claims that this was not him at the ceremony, with his representative emphatically telling the Daily Mail that the actor did attend the show in person. More details have since emerged about his involvement at the Césars, dubbed the French Oscars. And I guess his representative and some of the people from the show said that Jim's appearance was authentic and a, quote, historical moment, branding the controversy a non-issue. A representative from the César Awards says Jim Carrey's visit has been planned since this summer. From the outset, he was extremely touched by the Academy's invitation. Now, this hasn't quite been enough to quiet people down in this scenario as the conspiracy continues to grow, but this to me, guys, is a very simple thing to figure out. This is a symptom of us living in a world that is so distrusting of our establishment, so distrusting of Hollywood, so distrusting of government and our systems, that the everyday citizen at this point is basically become like an unhinged conspiracy theorist. 5-10 years ago, half of the things that people talk about today casually, if you were to think like this or speak like this, you would literally be labeled an unhinged conspiracy theorist. Every time somebody has an accident or a tragedy, people say it's not real and they're hiding somewhere. Every time that somebody comes out and speaks, people claim the video is AI. It doesn't matter what we have happen. People think everything is fake. People think everything is fake. And to me, the boiling point really came when Trump got shot. That was when I realized how many people have become conspiracy theorists, and maybe the better word to use is skeptics. I think skeptics is the much better word, more appropriate word to use in this scenario. I didn't realize how skeptical people had become, but I met and talked to so many people when Trump got shot in the ear that claimed it was a publicity stunt, or it just flat out just was fake, just wasn't real whatsoever. People are so skeptical, they're so distrusting, that they think everything is a conspiracy. And you know what the crazy part is? I can't even blame them. When we're living in a world now, and I've touched on this on past streams, we're living in a world now where the reality is stranger than the conspiracy theory. Because what I'm being told to believe and accept is that there was actually an island, an orgy island, used for royalty and world leaders to go and commit vile acts. Stephen Hawking was there in his wheelchair. World leaders were there. Presidents were there. And it's off the coast of the Caribbean. And this sex island was used for an international blackmailing scheme involving the likes of Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, and Bill Clinton. Now, if you really look at what I just said, that sounds like the craziest, most unhinged conspiracy theory to ever exist. The only problem is, this is 100% factual and 100% what occurred. See, when we're living in a time where the truth is that fucked up and twisted and crazy, and people speculated about this for so long and it ended up being true, how do we expect people to believe anything? You're telling me that that's the truth? I'm going to be skeptical of everything now. And people are. So when we see things like this, it's kind of ridiculous, but it makes sense in the world that we're living in. People are distrusting. People don't know who or what to believe. People don't know if what they're looking at is even real anymore. Half of what we're looking at is AI. Some of it we can pick up on, some of it we can't, but we don't even know if we're looking at a photo or a video, if it's even real. We don't know anything anymore. But all we do know is that the reality, the truth, is stranger than fiction. The truth is more far-fetched than any conspiracy theory I could ever come up with. You know, for me to come up with a theory crazier than Stephen Hawking and Bill Clinton at the Epstein Island, I would have to get pretty creative to come up with something crazier than that. So ultimately, that's where we're at, folks. It's kind of like a silly story in a way, but I think it's interesting in the sense that it's a cultural commentary. It shows just how far we've fallen when it comes to trust in our society. This is really how far we've fallen. I'm seeing in the chat, Meow says, after Epstein, I started questioning everything. How can you not question everything? Listen, an intelligent person at this stage in the game is going to question everything. Pizza and grape soda. Watch the movie 8mm. These billionaires think they can do what they want. I'll check it out. So yeah, guys, it's fascinating. So let me know what you think about Jim Carrey. My only thing is this, and before we end this story. Where is Jim Carrey on all of this? Pretty easy way to quiet things down. Like, look, if people made a story saying Cassius has been cloned, Cassius has been replaced, I would swiftly make a video saying, hi guys, I haven't been cloned, I haven't been replaced. Pretty simple way to solve it, to put the issue to bed. Where is Jim Carrey? Haven't heard from him. Haven't seen him. Is he missing? Like, what's the deal? Maybe he's too rich to care. Maybe he's just chilling in his estate. I hope he is. He said he was dead. He did say he was dead in the clip. Anyway, let's hop over to the next story. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Curious to see what your thoughts are. Such a strange world we're living in. Hopping over to a story in the world of rock and metal. Sharon Osbourne Sharon Osbourne has made a super exciting announcement in response to the speculations that Ozfest was going to be returning sometime in the near future. Now, Ozfest, of course, the legendary metal festival initially started and pioneered by the late Ozzy Osbourne, a festival that was very much revered in the world of rock and metal, and also something that a lot of the current rock and metal fans actually missed out on. I mean, you look at the guys in my generation, even the dudes who are pushing 30, we haven't got the chance to be graced by Ozfest. This was outside of our era. I was 3 years old when Ozfest was happening. So for good reason, there's been a lot of people asking, where the hell is Ozfest and when is it coming back, if it ever will come back? Well, Sharon Osbourne has now confirmed in a brand new interview with Riffix that Ozfest will be returning in 2027. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video clip of Sharon explaining the news.
Reprendra en 2027.
Yes, absolutely.
So they asked her in a different language if Ozfest will be coming back.
Absolutely, yeah.
D'Ozzy se traduit par un projet d'envergure. Le Ozfest reprendra en 2027.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. We're going to do it. It's we'd been wanting to. Well, the last one we did was 2018. It was just a month before Ozzy got sick, and that was at the Forum in LA, and. You know, there was no plans to stop it. We were still going to do it, but Ozzy couldn't. And Ozzy and I would talk about it, and he'd say, do you think Ozfest would work without me? And I'm like, yeah, it's a brand. It will work without you. And he said we should do it.
Mais il n'y a pas que ce projet en vue.
Ozzy's keyboard player, Adam Wakeman, his father's Rick Wakeman, and actually he came up with the idea of doing a classical version of...
Okay, so she's talking about a different thing now. So Sharon Osbourne explaining that Ozfest continuing was actually something that she discussed with the man himself. And of course they have done one-offs over the years. I mean, I think my statement earlier still applies, though, that this generation never got to see the Ozfest that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about the traveling road show. I'm thinking about all the different bands starting at 11 in the morning until midnight. That's the Ozfest that we really want to see. But this honestly makes me so happy. And it makes me happy for a couple of reasons. One, I'm biased when it comes to Ozzy. I love Ozzy. I love Sabbath. So anything that can be done in that world is going to be exciting to me, especially when it's executed properly. And I think Sharon has proven that she can continue to execute even at this stage in the game. You know, I was very skeptical and nervous, I have to say, about the Black Sabbath Back to the Beginning concert, because that show had the potential to go horribly wrong. There were so many factors working against that show. So many bad things could have happened, but they pulled it off with such care and such precision that the event turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. So Sharon has proven that she's still got it. I don't think she ever lost it, to be frank, but she's proven that she can still deliver the goods when it comes to this, throwing events, putting lineups together, making the right calls to put exciting acts on stage together to make this happen. So I think that this is a really, really good sign leading into the new Ozfest. The second reason this makes me so happy is because I don't know if you guys feel this right now, but I certainly feel it. Rock and metal are in desperate need of a resurgence. And I think the best time for it to happen is right now at this point in 2026. I don't know if you guys have noticed this either lately, but music is getting quite boring in the last couple of years, especially now in 2026. It's gotten quite boring. There's barely any stories to cover. There's really not much happening in the world of music. On top of that, many popular genres that have been dominating the charts for the past couple of years, well, they're starting to fall off. Pop music is doing okay, but it's slowly losing relevance. Hip hop and rap is basically on the way out. We're starting to see Billboard charts and top 100 charts with no hip hop on them, period, for the first time since hip hop had its inception. Other genres are starting to take a step out of the spotlight. And what's happening in current day is there's a hunger for authenticity. There's a hunger for something real, but there's also a hunger for that nostalgia. You know, people who are in their early 20s and late 20s, there's a hunger now like never before for the old concert shirts. There's a hunger right now for the vinyls. There's a hunger for all that stuff. And that started, a couple years ago, but now there's a real appetite for it. And it could be argued that a lot of these people are posers and they're hipsters and they'll wear a Black Sabbath shirt and they maybe don't know the songs. They want to buy vinyl to hang them on their wall, but they don't own a record player. I know a lot of it is like that, but look, it starts that way. If there's interest in Black Sabbath on an aesthetic level, that's how it starts. That's how the interest starts in the music. That's how my interest started with Kiss. How many countless kids saw Kiss on a t-shirt and thought, that's cool, that looks cool, the text is cool, the photo's cool. This is something different. So if people are, wearing Metallica shirts and Maiden shirts and Sabbath shirts and that's making a comeback, I get that they aren't all exactly metal aficionados. But it proves that there's an appetite. It proves that there's a hunger and there's people willing to buy what is being sold. All this to say, I think this is why it's the perfect time to relaunch Ozfest and bring this back into the spotlight, because I truly believe that if they continue doing these events right, if Sharon figures out a way to take this on the road, and like I said, make it like the Ozfest I heard about. I used to hear about the crazy day parties. Some bands are amazing on stage. Some bands get booed off the stage. All different things happening at Ozfest, and it was a traveling road show. If they can bring that back, I think this will be probably the greatest service that has been done to the genre of rock and metal in the past decade. And if there's anyone who's equipped to do it, it's Sharon Osbourne. And I'm working really hard to get Sharon on this show, by the way. Open letter to Sharon if you come across this, because you have interacted and engaged with my content before on Instagram, which I really appreciate. I want to talk with you about this. I would love to be involved in this. I would love to do interviews at this, do media, give you any sort of feedback from an audience perspective that I could give. I would love to help bring this to life, because I think I have a really good sense of what would make this an awesome event from the perspective of a young metal fan. Young enough, old enough, still on the good cusp. I think it could be amazing. So we're reaching out to Sharon. We're trying to put this together. But ultimately, this makes me so, so happy. And I think the sky is the limit when it comes to the potential for this. I mean, we still have a lot of legends. We got Rob Zombie. We got Alice Cooper. We've got Marilyn Manson. We've got all these guys. Maybe not Iron Maiden. I don't think they want eggs thrown at them again. But we have awesome bands, and we have people who have the capability to make Ozzy proud and to bring that name to the level it deserves to always stay at when it comes to relevance. So super happy to see this. I'm thrilled about Sharon bringing this back. And like I say, I hope I'm not being too direct. Hope I'm not being too bold, but fortune favors the bold. If I can be involved in any way in bringing Ozfest to life, it would be an honor and a pleasure. You know, I never got to interview Ozzy. I don't have regrets in life, but that's one of the biggest things. I wish I would have been more aggressive to try to interview Ozzy while he was here. Interviewed a lot of his colleagues, interviewed a lot of his bandmates. He was one of those guys where like we have similar connections and friends, but we never bridged that gap. I had the phone number of 10 people who could have called Ozzy for me. But we never bridged that gap. But I still love him. So I'd love to have a hand in it today. Make Ozfest great again. That's right, brother. Shout out my brother Youth. We see what the chat's saying. You'll make Satan happy? I'm not going to make Satan happy. See, here's the thing about the whole Satan thing. The artists of Ozzy's era, they used Satan as a content piece. They used Satan to explore ideas, among the many other ideas they explored in their music. But they used Satan as sort of a thematic starting place for literature and songwriting and heaven and hell and good and bad. And there was something behind it. The funny part is that now, though, like the people who are actually satanic in music, they're the ones who don't talk about it. The ones who are actually evil, like Sabrina Carpenter is more satanic than Ozzy Osbourne. And not everybody's going to get that, but the real ones are going to get what I'm saying there. I would say any modern day female pop star today is vastly more satanic than Ozzy Osbourne because they're actually practicing satanic practices, not using the devil as like a thematic thing in their writing. That's the thing that Sabbath did. They talked about heaven and hell and life and death and war and all these crazy themes. These girls up there shaking their asses, they're just little demon babies. Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande, I call them demon babies. That's what they are. And they don't use any of this as a theme or as an overarching message. They just are degenerates. And it's not, look, Ozzy had his moments too. I'm not going to sit here and say he was a saint. But that to me is the distinction between the quote-unquote satanic elements in rock and metal versus the satanic elements in music today. And by the way, how could I be satanic? Look at my shirt. How could I be a Satanist? Horrible time to be wearing this shirt. I'm not a Satanist, by the way. I tend to favor God. I would like him to favor me. By the way, I wore this shirt in where did I wear this shirt? Malaysia. Oh, guys, it's a Muslim country. It's a very strict country. I had no other clean shirts. I threw this on and ran outside. I thought they were going to run me out of that fucking country. I literally was scared for my life. People couldn't even look. I felt like I had titties. Like people were literally just looking here. I felt like I had like a double D cup with a nice shirt with cleavage. People just looking here. My eyes didn't exist. It was eyes are up here. Yeah, satanic panic, bro. That's why I couldn't get down with Malaysia, man. I like Malaysia aesthetically. Kuala Lumpur is a beautiful city. It's a cool place to be. But I couldn't get down with it because like nobody has any style there. They don't know how to dress. Nobody has any like aesthetic personality. And again, it's not to be disrespectful. I understand that in a Muslim country, you're supposed to dress modest. So I'm not disrespecting them. I'm just saying I didn't fit in there. Like people were looking at me there and they could tell I wasn't from there. People like honking at me in cars. Like, yo, bro, what's up, bro? Like, why do you want to talk to me? Well, because I'm obviously not from here. Unreal. So yeah, guys, those were our top stories for tonight. I appreciate everybody who's tapped in. Always fun. Always a good time. Lots of streams coming out. Interviews coming out. We have a really fun interview happening tomorrow for all my rock and metal fans, so make sure to go check that out. Just stay subscribed to the channel and you'll get all the information that you need. And yeah, man, just to close, I'm feeling really good right now. I'm feeling really positive, and we have a new plan. We have a new direction. Not even new. We have a more focused, refined direction for what we want to do on these streams and these shows. We're working on the brand identity. We're working on the messages that we really want to convey. And, you know, if you're new to the channel, if you're not new to the channel, this next 6 months to a year is going to be really, really exciting. It's going to be really focus driven. I know exactly what I want to do and what I want to convey. And I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm saying no to the disease of the algorithm. I'm saying no to the disease of more. And I've alluded to this before on streams, but this sickness of you have to be constantly posting in order to be doing anything, this sickness of you have to post 5 times a day to, you know, massage the algorithm, and the sickness of it doesn't matter what you put up, just put it up, all of that, I reject it. And I want to say it out loud. I reject the rat race of the algorithm. I reject the concept that quantity is more important than quality. And I reject anybody who wants to get in my way of taking my time to make great art, taking my time to make great interviews, taking my time to do great live streams and videos. I reject the concept that I'm not doing enough just simply because you feel like you're not doing enough. All you people, and I don't mean the audience, all the people who tried to get in my ear, though, personally, about I need to be doing this with the algorithm or doing that. Sometimes you need to grow a pair and tell people to fuck off and step off and get away from your vision and stop talking about my vision. Stop telling me what I should do. I had so many people this past few months telling me what I should do, what I should record, when I should post it, how I should film it, what I should say to open the video. Just protect your ideas, guys, because if you start listening to all these people, if you start believing all these people, you're going to lose you. You're going to become diluted. You're going to become watered down. And I don't think that's what's happened to me, but I think I was at risk of it. And I finally realized that you got to put your foot down and tell people, look, thanks for the thought, but this is my shit. I'm in control. I run this show, and I'm going to do and post what I want to do. I don't care how much money I can make on the internet following other people's rules. I would rather be broke and in destitute than be a slave. I don't care if it looks good on paper or aesthetically. I don't care if I was sitting in a mansion or driving a Bugatti. I'm not going to be happy driving one as a slave. I'm not going to be happy driving one, putting on a mask, being a person that I'm not. I'm not going to be happy in a mansion, not being my authentic self. It's not going to make me happy. I don't even need it to know. I don't even need it to know. I know it now. It's an inherent feeling. All I follow is the light. I follow God. I follow the universe, karma, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I say to everybody. Follow God, bro. Whatever God, religious, non-religious, whatever it is. Follow this shit right here. So thank you guys. I love you guys. Positivity incoming, good vibes incoming, IRL streams incoming, interviews incoming. And let's remind the people why they came to love Cassius Morris. Maybe we'll run it back. Let's remind the people why they came to love this. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a crusader against the mainstream media. Thank you for supporting somebody who's not corporate funded, not backed by the government. None of that. This is authenticity to the fullest. Thank you for being here. If you liked it, make sure to like and sub. And we'll be back with new content tomorrow. Stay safe, guys.